Okay. Right, welcome to episode 46, season 2 of the SNLF podcast, sponsored by New Style Apparel. For the first time this evening, we've actually got more special guests than we've actually got hosts of the show. Mike and Gaz have got prior arrangements and commitments this evening, so neither are with us. So just me and the Sussex stat man, Chris Pryor, holding the fort. Chris, how are you?
Sound, my friend. How are you?
Very good, very good. As always, well, I think actually this one's going to be a bit of a bumper-filled week of Sussex football because there's been so much going on compared to normal, and there's only me and you to chat about it.
Yeah, well, I've already made a couple of cock-ups tonight, just on the private chat with you, luckily, about what's going on, what week it was in. It's been a mad one, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been a bit tough to keep up with everything that's going on, but we've got it all here this evening. But without further ado, we'll crack on with this evening's special guests. And you might recognise one or two of them. You might recognise all three of them if you've been around the county scene long enough anyway. And we thought it'd be great to get these guys on, just literally because last week they had Guernsey away. They put out a fantastic tweet afterwards, and the guys had a fantastic time. So we thought, what better time to have on the guys from Pagham FC. Welcome, Lemmy Ewan, Aaron Miller, and Warren Pye. How are you all?
I'm all good, thanks, Trev.
Jolly good. Like I say, great to have you on, especially after what we saw at the weekend and everything, because we wanted to try and get across a little bit. We've kind of championed that having Guernsey in the league this year, and for the side to step forward that have got Jersey, it's something of an experience that not every footballer is going to get, being able to fly to a game, possibly stay overnight, and then come back the following day. I mean, this is non-league football, isn't it? It doesn't happen. Well, one of you go first.
I'll go. No, it doesn't normally happen, no. The club were brilliant, really. When the fixtures come out, it's the first thing we look for is when we got Guernsey away. With a new group, ideally we wanted it September, October time, just because to create the bonding and togetherness and all that, really. And that's what it has done very well.
Now, I think, Aaron, did you go on the Friday or were you with the team on the weekend?
Of course I went on the Friday, Trev.
Good lad, good lad, good lad. Good lad. So how many of you went over on the Friday?
There was about 16 of us went over on the Friday.
Fantastic. And then obviously the rest of the team followed on the Saturday. Did all of you stay overnight Saturday night committee as well?
Yeah, everybody.
So it's a real massive, great club bonding thing.
Yeah, we basically took over the island. I think we doubled the population.
And on the back of that as well, you went there and won 4-2 against a side that haven't lost that many times this season, especially don't lose very many at home either.
Yeah, we went there and the lads put in an unbelievable shift, to be fair. Like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get a train. There's a lot said about that. People making excuses with it, but we didn't allow it to affect us. We got there. To be fair to Lem, he was on the ball like about how we was going to prepare for it. But when we got to the ground, we went for a nice walk and that took the players for a stroll, kept them occupied. And the minute we got back to the ground and that, everyone was like itching to be there. Everyone was itching to get on the pitch and show them what we could do. And with the result we had on the Tuesday prior to that at Roffey, the undeserved 2-1 win, we had our sails and that behind us, and with the wind and that, we was ready to go. And the players put in one hell of a shift. To be fair to them, like every player to a man, even the boys on the bench. Put an unbelievable shift, and a stat I'm very proud to say is I've never lost on a team night out, which continued on to Saturday, which is fantastic.
I thought you were going to say he's never lost on an international tour, but it's only been one game. Let me talk us through. Go on, Chris.
I was going to say, you said start. I got my pen right at the ready. I was like, go on.
Let me talk us through the day. Obviously, on Saturday, the guys are already there. Your committee ready to go and that. How does it sort of run from when you get on the plane to when you go over there? What happens, the game and everything like that?
I've done quite a lot of research. Obviously, spoke to a few people from the Isthmian League last year that went over there. Obviously, Az spoke to a few people from our league that had been over there. I spoke to one guy that had been over there already. took all the negatives that we had, just put them in the bin. People were moaning, "Oh, there's nothing to do." There is things to do. You just got to do your homework, which we did when we arrived. Obviously, we landed about 10:30. You get picked up, you go straight to the ground. We literally set the dressing room up within half an hour, and then we took the boys off for an hour and a half. Come back at 12:30, ready for the game. Mine's on. Went through our normal pre-match stuff, and away we went. Evening side, what did we do? Evening, I booked us. We went to a place called Marvin's where we could have everyone there. We had the top floor of a pub, basically. We had our own bar up there. We were just singing, drinking and all that. We was there till about 9:30, and then we obviously hit the main town, as they call it.
Main town. Are we talking Vegas Strip here, or are we just talking like Bognor Regis Strip?
Whoa. Leave Bognor High Street out.
It's not that.
No, there's 2 or 3 places that the boys obviously knew about as well. They've done their homework. They've done their homework for the night out, so they kind of like let the boys take over the night out, really. They knew where they wanted to go. Fantastic, and everyone just followed suit.
Perfect.
Owen Sheriff, he's got a mate that lives over there. So Owen was well clued up. Owen had done his homework on it and found out some gas we could go to, and the good ones. It's not. We had someone on the know already. So we made sure we found some good places.
Aaron, obviously every club's not going to probably be able to do the whole committee thing going, the team going, staying for a couple of nights and everything. But what would you say is a massive benefit of being able to do that for yourselves, to kind of have a look the night before everything, and then the team coming over and joining you, and you're all together as one club?
Pretty much you just hit the nail on the head anyway. So because we were there a little bit early, we were able to sort of relay a little bit to them and the lads and the management team and that where they can go, where they can't go, how far away the ground is from the airport, where they're going to be, where they're going to be dropped off, and how far away things are, where they can eat, where they can't eat. That little stuff is quite helpful, because as much as it's been surprising seeing how many people moan about Guernsey being in our league, you can kind of see why. It's hard work. Staying over there, I think, takes a lot of that hard work away. It's a long ass day to do it all in one day. To get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get to the airport, fly out there, play a game, rush back to the airport again, fly home again. It would be hard work. I can't see why other clubs haven't raised the money just to stay. Like Guernsey paid for the flights. They were more than helpful to arrange for our flight back to be the next day. It made no difference to them. They were absolutely fine. It was all or nothing, though. It was everyone has to fly back on the same flight. You can't have half the team deciding they're going to fly back on the same day, half flying the next day. It's all or nothing. So Lem pretty much took that decision out of everybody's hands, just said, we're all staying. No one put up a fight. Obviously. The club did what the club did and said, we're gonna do what we can to support you. We're gonna pay for your accommodation and your breakfast in the morning. Make the most of it. It's exactly what we did. I think more people will follow suit now in the league, and like Guernsey are obviously massively appreciative, because we used it for what it was. And we had a great time. We had no complaints at all. And they're obviously used to people moaning about it. So they're like, Ryan puts a tweet out, which was just an honest tweet. And they're over the moon with us, because we haven't really done anything. All we've said is we had a great time. We were looked after. They did everything they could to look after us. They gave us loads of support, loads of help. We've got no complaints. But the only people that seem to be complaining are people that done it very differently to the way we did.
Yeah.
It's that simple, really.
Yeah, I've spoken to Ryan about the tweet as well, and I said, do you mind if we recreate it on the website? Because I think for those people that haven't seen it, it really does paint it in a good light. And we've said right from day one that actually having them in the league, it could be a one-off opportunity, as it was having Petersfield last year as well. And, those guys embraced everything being over here, knowing that everyone had to travel to them as well as them travelling. Guernsey got the same. Granted, they've been doing it, for a few more years and stuff. But one question I was going to ask as well was, had it been a Tuesday night instead of a Saturday,
I'd have gone Monday.
Huh? Yeah.
I'd have flown out on a Monday.
I was going to say, would you kind of try to have done the same kind of thing, or would you have maybe gone, we may not be able to do that for that?
We'd have been led by the players because of work. That would have been a completely different conversation, I think. That would have been really led by a decision made by the players. How many of them can afford to take Tuesday and Wednesday off work?
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, because obviously it's going to be different for everyone. But I mean, I'm hoping as well that a lot of sides will see what you've done and gone, as well, because quite a few people were positive about it. We did hear some murmurs about, and maybe hopefully it's going to show it all in a different light, and hopefully, as you say, encourage a few, of the others to do as well. Just going back to you, Lem. I watched you very early on in the season away at Stenning. I think it's only about second or third game. I think it was, yeah. And as you mentioned me just before, we came on air, you had a lot of turnover of players in the summer, and you had quite a few missing and chances you need to give at the beginning of the season as well. But what I was quite impressed with that night, and again, being only 3 games in, you were new in the summer as well, was, everyone knew what Stenning's attacking prowess was and everything right at the beginning of the season. And when you guys took the lead, what was really good was how you defended in 2 banks of 4 and made it really difficult for Stenning, to get through. And then when I look at the league table now, only Haywards Heath have conceded less than what you guys have. And I know I'm jumping in on one of Chris's stats probably, but tough. Is that the sort of thing that you kind of looked at when you came in to try and be quite resolute, but being able to score a lot at the other end?
Yeah, we set up to be very hard to beat straight away. If we don't concede goals, we're always going to score goals with the players we've got. And the coaching guys deserve a lot of credit in pre-season because of how we set up. We were relentless on our patterns of play, our shape, literally for 6 to 8 weeks. And the boys took it on board really well, and they're getting the rewards for it now by being so solid defensively. We'll always score goals. We'll always want to score more, but the defensive record, obviously I was a keeper, was a keeper as well. That's something that we're proud of, and we should be. The boys really have taken that on board there, the defensive shape.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Chris?
Firstly, hello. Pagham's not a club I have been to before just because I live in Eastbourne. It's miles away. But to be fair,
Guernsey.
No, it's flew to Guernsey.
Touche, but I've got more of a choice about it than you guys have. The start you guys have made to the season has been phenomenal. Like Trev said, you've only conceded 8, you've kept 4 clean sheets already, and you're on 20 points. Now, Pagham this time last year, appreciating you may not, Lem, you weren't there, but it took them to Boxing Day to get to 20 points.
Yeah, they was on 8 this time last year.
Yeah, so, and teams are obviously not wanting to play against you. And it's not like you've been playing, Duffers either. You've had some really standout results, winning at Roffey, like you say. That Guernsey game, unbelievable. I suppose, what do you put it down to? Like, is it just the clean sheets, or is it what you did in the summer?
Well, you can answer that one because you've obviously been massively involved in that.
Yeah, we look for the full package really, but like Lem said, me and him both being goalkeepers and Jamie being a defender. I'm not actually sure what position I'm played.
Defender,
more defensive, but we're quite like heavily a defensive side, like management, like where we used to play. So keeping clean sheets, being resilient is part of the game and part of something that we're quite proud about. But we do like to be expansive. We do like to be a threat going forward. Like you look at some of the players we've got as our forward line. How we set up is to try and to combat teams. So we're just happy the way things go in games for us, and we just keep trying to plod along and keep kind of grind out results from where we can, and keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, well, I'd advise you do that because you're doing very, very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, nothing more from me. Just well done on a great start. The trip to Guernsey was obviously a great success, and it's been lovely to see how you as a club have not marketed it. That kind of paints the wrong picture, but you've told the story about what you've done. Guernsey have obviously loved that, I've said, I mean, Trev said we've all been on board with the idea of Guernsey being here. I've seen firsthand my local team from back up north are in the same league as the Isle of Man, and they've had similar trips out there, and they can't speak highly enough of it. And, you know, I've already booked my trip to Jersey with Eastbourne Town later in the season. So I'm doubly looking forward to it now. I've seen the great experience you guys have had. So well done.
Thank you.
Aaron, coming back to you as well, it's not only going so well on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. The club's looking really good around. The clubhouse, I think, has been redone. You've got happy hours going on. You've got the newsletter. Give everyone a few more details on that, because it's something that probably a lot of clubs would like to do and think, how do I actually get this off the ground?
But it's Kel, isn't it? It's Kel. She's like a dog with a bone, mate. It's her baby. She's been involved for so long, and she loves the club so much. That woman will not stop until she's, you know, achieved everything she wants to achieve and make the place more inclusive. And like for someone like Kel, I think, you know, Kel obviously loves her football, but for her, first and foremost, it's her social life. So she wants the club to be a community club. She wants it to be, you know, inclusive to, you know, everyone locally. The only way to do that without, like, you know, me and Lem had this conversation today. We don't have a 4G pitch. We're not, you know, we can't have the place open full time, but we can have it open as much as we possibly can if people keep coming through the door. The only way you keep them coming through the door is make them feel welcome, make it a place they want to come back to. You know, get the players' families involved, get their friends involved, get our friends involved, and then it's a place that you want to come back. I want to come back. Everyone wants to come back to, because you feel comfortable and you feel, you know, you feel welcome there. It's, you know, she's got a mile of ideas, Kel, and she's not someone that will take no for an answer. So, you know, she will keep driving forward. There's lots of things happening in the background all the time that people don't know about. She goes about it very quietly in her own way, and she's got this little army of people around her and behind her that, you know, they're quietly in the background, and they do an awful lot that people don't see. But they're a massive support network to her. And I think where there's been more of them people like appear, probably over the last, I'd say probably 6 months, that's given her like more of a drive forward. So that's why you'll keep seeing things, especially throughout this season. You'll keep seeing things improving at the club, and things happening and things changing and things being done, like the car park's being done right now as we speak. There's ground workers there digging up the car park and re-tarmacking that. Obviously, you know, with the tragic events that happened at Chichester, alarm bells rang for us at the club because, well, you've been there enough, Trev. The clubhouse isn't a million miles away from the pitch. And the old stand has got a breeze block wall. Yes, it conforms with all of them, you know, all the measurements and stuff, but we're not happy now with what happened, that we're just going to sit there and do nothing. So straight away, Kel's on the case, getting things organised to make improvements to that and make it safer. The woman won't stop. She just won't. She's excellent.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's the sort of people you need in non-league football, though, isn't it? That keep clubs the size of yours, even higher as well, keep them ticking over and going every single week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There isn't someone else out there that we would prefer to have driving the club forward. We'll take care of the football. That's the easy bit, isn't it? That's the easy bit. We'll take care of that. But let her take care of the football club and the stuff behind the scenes. And, you know, like I say, there's always stuff going on. There's always events. There's always functions, and that's what's driving the club forward at the moment.
Brilliant, really, really good to see. And Lem, obviously, the start's been absolutely fantastic, as we've mentioned so far. When you sort of come in during the summer, were you kind of looking, I want to be around that playoff bit, I want to be in the playoffs, I'm going for the title? What was your kind of mindset?
Playoffs is always our target. If you don't aim for the playoffs, you shouldn't be playing. You're wasting everybody. You're wasting your time if you're not doing that. Playoffs is our target. I think if we keep everyone fit, we'll have a strong chance of getting in and around it. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, looking in as well from the outside, Aaron, as you say, I've been quite a few times in that. It looks as if this year looks like the year that you wanted to have last year as a club, but it just didn't quite materialise. But it looks like it's going to this time around.
Yeah, I think exactly that. It just it's all just sort of clicked. Like timing's like just one of them things, isn't it? Timing in football, it's, you know, like the Guernsey trip. We said for us, it couldn't have come at a better time. It just seems like it is all just sort of clicking at the right time now, from top to bottom. And yeah, I think we've all got a good feeling about this year. We're not going to get carried away. It's one game at a time. Like, October is a tough month. That started with Guernsey. It's a very, very tough month, and it's pretty much make or break. You asked Lemmy again at the end of October what his aspirations at the end of the season are. This month will be, it will determine, I think, the answer.
Yeah, on that, I've got the fixture list up here, and yeah, Bexhill at home next, and they're also going about their business very well. A trip to Goringsmead for YN, Lingfield at home, and then in October. No, we're talking about October. In November, you've got Haywards Heath and Newhaven back to back. Yeah. So, but this is what you're in the game for, isn't it?
Yeah, put yourself in a position to be shot at, which is a good position to be, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, it really is. Guys, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Really appreciate you taking the time out. Best of luck for the rest of the year, especially in those games coming up as well, because there are going to be some tough ones. And I'll definitely be along at some point in the near future, for sure.
Yeah, Trev, can I just one more thing? I just wish get well soon to our midfielder Harry Giles, who's come back from Guernsey with severe sore throat. He's unable to make training last night, so just get well soon to Harry Giles. Hope you recover soon, mate, and I'll see you Saturday, hopefully.
Cheers, Trev.
Great stuff.
Cheers,
thanks,
Trev.
guys.
Cheers, Chris.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Nice to meet you, guys.
Cheers.
All the best. Has Lemmy left, or is Lemmy still there and just being a very good mime?
There you go. I've just got him out. Okay. I thought I was actually going to have to kick them both out, but there we go. You got right. This is a little strange, isn't it? Just the two of us this evening. You have to have their prior commitments, which happens. As it goes. Yeah, right. Let's crack on, shall we? I had a great moment earlier though, Chris. My printer didn't want to print all my bits and pieces out, so I'm just going to have to squeeze my screen and read my bits off of the document I prepared earlier. Right. Let's start with the FA Trophy. I was going to start with the Sussex Senior Cup, but we'll start with the FA Trophy if I can find my banners, because I've actually put all them together as well. And let's go. Right. FA Trophy results last Saturday finished. Broadbridge Heath 1 at Billericay Town 3. Lewis 1, Leiston 2. Burgess Hill Town drew 1-1 with Potters Bar Town, but went through 4-3 on penalties. Whitehawk went down 2-0 at home to Canvey Island, and Chichester City lost 4-2 at home to Farnham. So the only side going through were Burgess Hill Town. They've drawn the unbeaten side from their own division, Folkestone Invicta, to be played on Saturday, the 25th of October. Good to see Chichester back in action, Chris, up against a good Farnham side that they couldn't overcome. And Broadbridge Heath did pretty well to hold Billericay till about the 85th minute, I think it was.
Yeah, it was 88 and 89. I mean, so 3-1 paints a very different picture when you look at when the goals came in. Absolutely, yeah. Unlucky Broadbridge Heath.
Certainly did, but not an easy tie for Burgess Hill in the next round, especially as Folkestone spoilt their homecoming a couple of weeks ago.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a return, isn't it? You often see it in cup games, replicating league games. I don't know why it happens. It just does. Yeah, I mean, they're going great guns, aren't they, Folkestone? Didn't they knock Maidstone out of the cup as well? They
did, yeah. Yeah, they're Folkestone heading to Southend United this weekend in the FA Cup fourth qualifying round draw. as well. Right, let's get into the Sussex Senior Cup games, the second round games that were held last night. Just before we get into those, there was 2 games being played this evening. AFC Vardinians are at home to Hastings, and Lee Penn did tell us half an hour ago that Hastings were 3-0 up after half an hour. It should be just coming up towards the end of half time at the Withdean, and Loxwood are at home to Bognor Regis Town. I haven't got a scoreline from there, so if anybody wants to pop that in the comments, please do. Results from Tuesday evening was East Grinstead Town 0, Hayward Town 5, Little Common 0, Three Bridges 2, New Haven beat Seaford Town by 5-1. Horsham YM 1-2-1 at Peacehaven and Telscombe. Roffey beat Lewis by the same score. Crawley Down Gatwick 1-4-3 at Littlehampton Town. East Preston beat Saltdean United by 4-1. Jarvis Brook went down 7-0 at home to Worthing. Wick beat Lancing by 5-2. Broadbridge Heath beat Burgess Hill Town 3-1. Whitehawk and Horsham drew 1-1 with Horsham going through 6-5 on penalties. Hassocks went down 1-0 at home to Brighton Hove Albion under 21s, and Eastbourne Borough against Chichester City was postponed. Couple of surprise results, Chris, I think in there that we possibly didn't see coming.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Roffey beating Lewis. I mean, that is a fantastic result for the Bulls at home. I think
it was Lewis's only. It was their under-18 side though. They put out.
Was there? Okay, yeah. That's interesting. I saw Will Hugel said that it was a young side. I didn't realise it was quite that young. So thank you for the correction. Fair play. I mean, the one for me that stood out was Crawley Down Gatwick. I think Crawley Down Gatwick have had a really rough start of the season. They've only won 1 in the league. They've never been. The weird thing is that they've been in games like they've all been like by 1 goal. Like I just get the feeling something will turn for them quite quick, and then they'll go on a bit of a run. But for them to come from behind twice at Littlehampton, who've started well, I don't know what sort of side they put out last night.
Fairly strong side, yeah.
Okay, decent. So hopefully that'll prove to be a bit of a kickstart to Crawley Down season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was impressed with Broadbridge Heath's result at Burgess Hill Town. It seems that the homecoming for Burgess Hill hasn't quite hit any of the high notes quite yet. Great crowd at Hassocks, 1,004, their highest crowd ever, and by all accounts it went really, really well. And I do hope a few do turn up and watch Hassocks in the league games. They've not had a bad start. It's a lovely little club, and obviously for Brighton fans, it's only just down the A23. And as there's no games this weekend, if Hassocks are at home, get yourself down there, and if they're not, get down when Brighton are playing away. If you don't go and follow,
echo those sentiments. I think I've made it clear on this podcast many times what I think of Hassocks. I think they're a brilliant club, and I had a weird dream where recently where a few of my friends came down from Manchester, and for some reason we went to see Hassocks. Don't know why, we just did. So, but no, they've taken to life in step 4 really well, and them games against Brighton, you hope that they can just lead to something. Town have had one. We had one in the Senior Cup. I want to say 2018, 2019 maybe, and it was a great crowd. It was about 600, 700 odd on a Tuesday night. You just got to hope, that people see what they've got sat on their lap, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Gaz and I were at Wick against Lancing last night, and 5-2 scoreline. I say it doesn't quite paint the picture of the game. Wick were in front very early, but Lancing came back and equalised. And actually, at that point, Lancing looked fairly decent. Obviously, they've had another turnover of players with new managers James Rhodes and Dale Hurley coming in to replace the interim manager Ryan Andrews, and obviously Martin took a game and won, I think, last weekend as well. But Wick were very lethal in the first half, very lethal, and they did run away with it. They were 4-1 up by half time. And the second half was, I wouldn't say a non-event really, but we only ended up with 2 more goals. I thought it was actually going to be a few more than that. We had a really good chat with Martin Gander as well, about a whole host and variety of things. They're obviously hosting one of the groundhog games, which we'll come to a little bit later in the show as well. But it'd be interesting, Chris, to see what happens to them over the next few weeks, because we'll expect again players to change. You know, they've only won one game so far this season. They're sitting rock bottom after relegation last year. You know, their aim very much is going to be to stay in that division, you know, and keep a step 5 status.
No, I mean, we'll cover them in a little bit more detail in this when we get to the to step 5. But I think they've won their first game of the season. I was going to give them a shout out for that. I mean, winning away at Lingfield when they're at Whiteleaf last season was a tough task, and many of the teams chasing the playoffs didn't manage that. So fair play to Lancing for getting that one out. Also fair shout out Wick, because I know they lost their first 6 games of the season and it was all looking quite dicey, and then all of a sudden they've won 3 of the last 4 and they're safely ensconced in mid-table now. So yeah, it would be interesting to see what happens at Lancing. You know, fingers crossed. I don't like to see any team just get repeatedly gubbed every week. But Lancing did go through a period where they were shipping goals left, right, and centre, and hopefully, I mean, they also kept a clean sheet at the weekend, which, you know, again, it's not just the fact they won, but they keeping a clean sheet after the run they'd been on was a real achievement. So good on them.
Absolutely. We'll just say as well, you know, the good work that Pagham are doing around their club as well. We have refurbished their clubhouse upstairs. Does look really, really nice. They've got a new food outlet, guys in there as well. So things are starting to come together, I think, for quite a few clubs, which is really nice to see. I would assume the draw for the 3rd round will be on Saturday
evening.
Sussex. Yeah, I haven't seen anything advertised yet, but I'd expect that possibly to come out in the next couple of days. But if not, I imagine it'll be the Saturday after. Right, into the Isthmian. We start with the National League South. Results for our sides last Saturday is Ebbsfleet United 2, Eastbourne Borough 2, Hornchurch 1, Horsham 1, and Maidenhead United 1, Worthing 0. This coming Saturday, Horsham are the only side in league action as they head to Dover Athletic, whilst in the Emirates FA Cup 4th qualifying round, Eastbourne Borough host Boreham Wood, and on Monday evening, Worthing host Forest Green Rovers, which is live on TNT, with the first round draw preceding that at Woodside Road. Long time in football, Chris. 2 material changes at level. Chris Agger leaving surprisingly last Thursday to head to National League Sutton United, and last night while we were at Wick, news of Matt Gray leaving Eastbourne Borough before their FA Cup tie at the weekend. It's, well, hard to keep up, hard to catch up, and plenty to talk about. Give us your thoughts on both.
On both, right. Well, I'll start with Worthing as it happened first. Yeah, I was equally stunned. I mean, we were sharing thoughts on the group on Thursday when it came through, and we're like, whoa, where has this come from? Because it just wasn't on the... I know there's been a bit of disquiet amongst Worthing fans for the last 6 months, I'd say, or possibly longer, about Chris Agger's style of play. And look, I haven't seen enough of Worthing to comment. And by enough of Worthing, I mean any of Worthing, really, because I just haven't. But I did look at, I've looked at some of the stats, as you might expect. And they lost 25 goals. So the season that they got to the playoff final, and I think lost to Braintree. Was it Braintree at home?
Braintree,
yeah, they scored 104 goals in the regular season, and then that dropped to 78. But it's so weird because they actually, Chris Agger's side got 4 more points than the one that preceded them. But obviously, last season was mad in that 5 teams could have won it on the last day. It was a very unique season, I think, in that regard. This season has not got off to a good start for them at all. They're 15th. They're 12 points from 10 games, and they've had by far the easiest of the starts of anybody in that league, just based on current league positions. They've played all the teams, I think, basically in the bottom. I think the highest team they played up until they played Maidenhead at the weekend was they were at 13th, and that might have been Horsham, actually. I think it was Horsham, actually, yeah. So, and then he's taken up an offer at a higher league club. I think that was the bit that caught me off guard. Like, my opinion of Chris Agger's is quite high, in that I know a lot of people from Hastings, where he was pretty universally adored, to be fair. And then I see it, and then I see from the outside a Worthing side going really close to promotion. So you just kind of think, well, they must like him, right? Obviously, a bit more complicated than that, and I bet that probably played into the decision he took, if I'm being honest. In terms of Borough, I was surprised. Now, not surprised in one sense. Obviously, the sense being that they've not won a league game yet. It's hard to be surprised in that context, to be fair. But they're 5 unbeaten in all competitions, which is really weird. I thought the ship was starting to turn, if I'm being honest, and they got a good result at Ebbsfleet at the weekend. Yeah. They've blooded some youngsters. I mean, we've said all season it's the youngest side in the league, and young Arthur Grout, who was at Eastbourne United last season doing bits. I think he scored their winner in the playoff semi-final, if I'm not mistaken. But he scored his first goal for Borough at the weekend, and the fans there are saying what a great job, saying he looks fantastic. And they've not. I don't know. It just struck me as slightly weird timing, particularly with Boreham Wood coming. But yeah, weird timing, but possibly probably the right decision given where they are in the table.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, you would say that, and around about 10 games is a marker managers used to get before they got changed. Now it seems to be you're lucky if you make it to to 5 or 6. But I'll go back to Chris Agata as well first, and it really caught me by surprise when I saw it as well. I don't think I hadn't heard any whispers, any rumours or anything like that. Normally, I get a fair bit around from different people across the game. I had expected Adam Hinshelwood to be at least in conversations. From what I understand, he was, and pulled out last minute. Some people have said they've gone for maybe what they perceive Hinshelwood Mark II. Because they couldn't get him. I don't know. We'll see how he goes up there as well. And again, not particularly great timing for Worthing with Forest Green arriving on Monday, and we're recording on Wednesday. And as far as we're aware, Dean Hammond is in caretaker charge for 3 games. He had 1 at the weekend, so Monday should be his second. Moving on to Matt Grousey, we had Matt on the pod very early in the season, and as you mentioned, Chris, he said he got a very young side put together, which I think in that division was completely the wrong way to go. It's the wrong model, especially if you're not going to surround them with a good amount of experienced heads. I think bar Craig Eastman and 1 or 2 others, that's literally all they've got. And it looks a little bit to me from the outside that it looks similar to when Mark Beard came in, and wrong players, wrong type of manager, and you end up where you are in the table. So it's almost as if Simon's gone backwards and decided, I'm not going to put the budget into that, but that's what you get in that division. It's far too competitive to be sitting there, not having an experienced team to put out on a pitch on Saturday and get your results, which might be why they're sitting in that bottom 4. As you said, that 5 unbeaten in all competitions, and I've said over the last couple of weeks that whilst they're not scoring goals, I'm not sure if George Alexander's been out injured. He was on the bench on Saturday, so again, there's your goal scorer. That is what they've really been lacking in. If you can't score goals, make yourself hard to beat and pick up your clean sheets, which I think they've picked up 2 or 3 in that 5 game spell as well.
Yeah.
So, again, if you're not going to spend the money to get the players in, you're not going to get the results you desire, especially in that division as well. Being so competitive.
I would have thought last year would have been a bit of a wake-up call for a lot of people about how competitive that division is, because you saw it, like the quality of it, but also just the number of teams who were there. Like Torquay is still there, and they're not going to mess about. Dorking don't mess about. There's so much. You need that experience. And even Taunton, I think Taunton have come up and have gone with the more experienced model. And that seems to be paying dividends for them. Whereas, Borough, it doesn't help as well, the location. Matt Gray was quite candid about it when he came on the show, saying the difficulty he's got getting people down here. And look, I I live in Eastbourne. I understand it. It is a nightmare to get in and out of. And so getting experienced people with family, if you're, say, a 30-year-old and you got family and then trying to uproot them, we've seen how many people left when the previous incumbent went up to Kiddie. And, a few gone with him. They were obviously just here for I don't want to say here for a short time, not for here for a good time, not for a long time, because they're moving families around. It sounds really flippant when you say it like that, and then we're not talking like the Premier League where they've got loads of money. So I'm never going to have a pop at people for moving. The reason I still live in Eastbourne, to be completely candid with you, is because I've got family here now. Otherwise I'd be back in Manchester. But it's a bold model to try and do it, and it's a bold model when you're trying to rely on youngsters, particularly bold when you've tried it once and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, be interesting to see. So anyway, 2 vacancies there in the National League South, and see how they get on this week in the FA Cup. Right, on to the Isthmian.
Just on that one, Boreham Wood, Eastbourne's opponents at the weekend, Boreham Wood, they're not doing bad. They are doing very, very well. They've only lost 1 game since they got promoted from the South up into the conference. That was against leaders Rochdale on the opening day. And then they drew at Carlisle, and since then they are top of the league. So they're doing very well, looking like they could be potentially threatening a jump to the Football League. So
yeah, which is what they've always wanted. It's what they've always wanted, Boreham Wood. But there we go. Right, off into the Isthmian League Premier Division. No games for our sides last week because of the FA Trophy games. This coming Saturday, Chichester City are at home to Lewis. Burgess Hill Town host Hashtag, and Whitehawk host Carshalton Athletic. On Monday evening, Burgess Hill Town head to Carshalton Athletic, and Dartford are at home to Whitehawk. Right, straight on into the Isthmian South East Division, and obviously with the FA Trophy games last weekend, there weren't many league games, but on Saturday it finished Beckenham Town 3, East Grinstead Town 0, Crowborough Athletic 1, Herne Bay 3, and Erith Town 1, Eastbourne Town 2. Then on Tuesday evening, finish the rest of Saturday. Finish Hassocks 1, Sheppey United 1, Hastings United 1, Faversham Town 3, and Mersham 1, 3 Bridges 1. Then on Tuesday evening, Crowborough Athletic beat Erith Town by 3-0, and Eastbourne Town went down 6-3 at Deal. Eastbourne's good run, Chris, came to a little bit of a sticky end on Tuesday evening after good win on Saturday, but it's still a tough league to work out who's where, who's doing well, who's not doing well, because there's so many mismatches in the amount of games still played.
I know, yeah, and I'm hoping that once the trophy starts to calm down, I think in terms of, like, teams exiting it, I'm hopeful that it'll start getting a bit more normal. But yeah, it was a tough one. A Tuesday night away at Deal,
never easy.
Even for the faint of heart. No, and it was weird. At one point, Town were losing 4-1. I was like, oh, that's the exact same score we got last year. And then we pulled it back to 4-3, 2 goals from Nathan Hover. And then you're like, oh, could we? And then obviously the answer to that was an emphatic no. But we did get a win. We did get a win at Erith, or Erith. Sorry, Erith fans. In which, like, we took the lead. There was a red card, and then I think Erith equalised right at the death from a corner, and you're just thinking, oh, for God's sake, that was a missed opportunity. And then we went down the other end, and Sonny Wolf bullets a header in. So it was probably good we did that, because our fixture list over the next few weeks is looking hard. I think it's Margate. We've got Broadbridge Heath next Tuesday, which won't be easy, despite their position in the table. Like I said, that's been heavily conditioned by cup games, as you've said. And also the fact that their fixture list has been relentless in terms of who they've played. They lost narrowly at Whiteleaf. Was that on the weekend, or was that the previous week? That was the previous weekend, because they played Burgess Hill. Been through that, and they won at Burgess Hill, which again, that shows you the marker of them. They're a good side. But yeah, it is a weird one. Great win for Crowborough though. It's good to see them get another win on the board. It's a long season, so every win counts, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Right, fixtures this coming Saturday. Hastings United heads to AFC Whiteleaf. Crowborough Athletic are away to East Grinstead Town. As Chris mentioned, Eastbourne Town host Margate. Hassocks travel to Sevenoaks Town. Broadbridge Heath are away at Sittingbourne, and Three Bridges host Deal Town. On Tuesday evening, Broadbridge Heath are at home to Eastbourne Town. Crowborough Athletic host AFC Croydon Athletic. Hastings United are at home to Sittingbourne, and Three Bridges host Jersey Bulls. Right, into trying to do the banners and read everything at the same time is really difficult. This is where you need a mic, it's where you're just missing the one person. Right, into the Isthmian South Central Division. And last Saturday, Littlehampton Town went down 1-0 at home to Met Police, whilst on Sunday, Bognor Regis Town beat Ascot United by 2-1. This coming Saturday, Littlehampton Town head to Hanworth Villa, and Bognor Regis Town are away to Hendon. On Tuesday evening, Littlehampton Town host South Park, and on Wednesday evening, Bognor Regis Town host Moneyfields. Win finally for Bognor, Chris, against a very decent Ascot side that are chasing those playoffs, and a few more outgoings and a few incomings again this week, and I expect that I think will continue over the next couple of weeks as well, just as Jamie settles his side down and hopefully gets some points to climb the table.
Yeah, no, really good result. I think that was one of the ones I highlighted at the weekend to you. It was, Ascot are not, they don't mess about, you can't have a mare against them. No silly business. It'll get really daft, but great result for them. Littlehampton feast or famine watch again, so it wasn't 3 this time, it was 0. They need to pack that in. They need to pack that in, because I will continue with this line of questioning if they don't. But it's still early days, but it's really nice. I'm hoping that's a bit of a pivot point for Bognor after the start they've had.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a change for them actually to have a home game with obviously development work still continuing at Knightwood Lane, and then actually get another one next Wednesday as well. So fair play to them.
Yeah, and it's like I said on the show, if it weren't last week, it would week before, and like I said on the stats show, them being at home, even if it's not at home, even if it's at Chichester, it deprives the other team of home advantage, which, is better than nothing.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, right, into Southern Combination Premier Division. Results last weekend, as we mentioned earlier, Pagham won 4-2 at Guernsey. Bexhill United beat Horsham YM by 2-1. Wick won 3-2 at Crawley Down Gatwick. Eastbourne United beat Shoreham 7-0. Forest Row and Midhurst shared a 1-1 draw. Lancing picked up their first win of the season 1-0 at Lingfield. Little Common and Roffey shared a 1-1 draw. Haywards Heath Town beat New Haven by 4-0. Peacehaven and Turscombe drew 1-1 with Stenning Town, and Seaford Town beat AFC Vardinians 6-0. On Tuesday evening, Stenning Town beat Lingfield by 3-2. This coming weekend, Lancing host Guernsey. AFC Vardinians are at home to Crawley Down Gatwick. It's Haywards Heath Town versus Eastbourne United. New Haven are away at Horsham YM. Little Common travel to Midhurst and Eastbourne. Pagham entertain Bexhill United. Roffey versus Peacehaven and Telscombe. Shoreham host Lingfield. Stenning Town are at home to Seaford Town, and Wick are at home to Forest Row. Rare Monday night football again next week. Forest Row host AFC Vardinians, and on Tuesday evening, it's the Peter Bentley Challenge Cup third round. Roffey host Godalming Town. In the Sussex RUR Charity Cup second round, Worthing United host Seaford Town, and in the Premier Division, it's Little Common at home to Peacehaven and Telscombe. Shoreham versus Guernsey. Wick versus Stenning Town, which are all 7:30 kickoffs. Haywards Heath Town host Lancing, and Lingfield are at home to Eastbourne United. Of course, that's at AFC Whiteleaf FC. Chris, you were at New Haven against Haywards Heath on Saturday. New Haven's first home Saturday fixture since the opening day of the season. That's some super fixture planning, mate.
That is incredible. I mean, it shows you. Wow, that is, yeah. Couldn't have picked a finer day for it either. Blowing a gale. My friend turned up late because his hat got blown into the playground that's getting redeveloped right next to Fort Road. So that was funny. I had a really nice time, actually. Club were really welcoming, as you expect. The people from Haywards Heath were particularly welcoming as well. So I had a really nice time getting to know them. In terms of the game, I mean, it was a lot more one-sided than I thought it would be. Haywards Heath from the off were just dominant. Conditions were blowy, not as blowy as it could have been, given A, it's New Haven, and B, everything else that was happening else around the country. But the 3 of the 4 goals came from long throw-ins. The first 2, I only saw the first 2, I must add, because the 3rd and 4th came when I was at the bar. But they came from basically the same position on the left-hand side, hurled in, wasn't particularly dealt with well by New Haven. The second goal, it looked like a bit of a howler from the keeper, but again, it was just exactly the same as the first one. And it seems actually Haywards Heath scored a very similar goal against East Grinstead last night in the Sussex Senior Cup. So, but Haywards Heath, I mean, credit to James who does the socials for Haywards Heath. He put me onto this track. He said, "Oh, we haven't conceded in ages, and we've kept 6, 7 clean sheets in a row." I was like, "Wow, that's impressive." In all comp, so I'll go and have a look. They've now kept 8 clean sheets in a row, and they only conceded in the 4th minute of the game they last conceded in. So again, if they make 5 minutes again this weekend, they will go 9 games worth basically of clean sheets. They've scored 30 goals since they last conceded.
Wow, that's not bad, is it? Not bad going at all.
No, and obviously they went to East Grinstead on Tuesday night and won 5-0. Now I appreciate they're one place apart in the pyramid, albeit they're in different divisions. Yeah, that's a bit of a marker. And shout out to Rex Porter, actually, the East Grinstead goalkeeper who came off with an injury. Hopefully for them that's not too serious because they're gonna need him. He was very good when Town played there. But yeah, I mean, you can see why Haywards Heath are top and by a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, underneath them, it's turning into quite. We're almost having a little bit of a Hassock situation from the season, aren't we? Yeah, and the race underneath them actually is looking, extremely strong. And as we mentioned earlier with the Pagham guys, they've got quite a few of these sides around them to play in the next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, starting with, Bexhill and Pagham, I think are probably the 2 teams flying a little under the radar that we probably didn't think would be in this position at the start of the season. Certainly, I'll be blunt, I didn't. But it's nice to see. It is good to see other teams getting up there and about. And yeah, I mean, Forest Row are on 22 points. Stenning are in 8th, and they're on 18, and only 4 points back. So I hope this continues for the rest of the season because it'll certainly give us plenty to talk about. And to be fair, Roffey are only a point back on them, to be fair. So yeah, should probably go down to 9th. 5 teams separated by... No, 5 points separating 8 teams.
Yeah, it's a nice little race, isn't it, coming up again, I think, for us to keep an eye on.
Good.
Exactly. Right, into Division 1. And results last Saturday finished AFC Woolcounty 6, Mile Oak 2, Arundel 2, Saltdean United 1. Billingshurst beat AFC Duckfield Town by 5-0. East Preston won 3-1 at Copthorne. Worthing United won 4-0 at Dorking Wanderers B. Reigate Priory beat Infinity by 3-1. Loxwood and Jarvis Brook shared a 1-1 draw. And Selsey won 4-2 at Oakwood, whilst Godalming Town won by a 0-0 at Ringmat AFC. This coming Saturday, AFC Ackfield Town host Oakwood, East Preston at home to Dorking Wanderers B, Infinity host Godalming Town, Jarvis Brook are at home to Copthorne, Billingshurst travel to Mile Oak, Reigate Priory host Saltdean United, Arundel head to Ringmat AFC, although the game is being played at the Dripping Pan Lewis for some emergency work being undertaken at the Caborn ground. Selsey are at home to AFC Woolcountians, and Worthing United are at home to Loxwood on Tuesday evening, as we mentioned in the Peter Bentley Challenge Cup 3rd round. Godalming head to Roffey. Seaford Town are away at Worthing United in the Sussex RUR Charity Cup 2nd round, and Division 1 Challenge Cup 2nd round as well. AFC Woolcountians are at home to Reigate Priory. Chris, 5 points separates 2nd down to 9th. Sorry, it's almost as nutty as the Premier Division, and a similar kind of race again as to what we had last year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's looking a bit more like the Prem this season and maybe the Prem last season as well, in that Godalming 6 points clear, game in hand. If they win that, it's 9. Already it's looking a bit tricky it's looking difficult to overcome. But I think Reigate going to Infinity and winning that just brings that whole race in. It just makes it a lot more spicy, doesn't it?
Yeah,
because
and then Infinity hosting Godalming this weekend as well.
Yeah, that's going to be special. I think. Billings seem to have gone back on the got back on the goal scoring horse with 9-2. It's going to be again. It's just great. It's just going to be a really fun division to watch. I can just tell. Jarvis Brook is still there, and if this is their wobble, they've not won in 6. If this is their wobble and they get back on it, they're really in with a shout. It just depends on how permanent. I suppose what's a better reader for their actual ability? Is it the first few games where they started really, really well, or is it this 6? Don't know, but it's going to be fun finding out.
Yeah, different to that, isn't it, as well? And obviously, as well, mentioning Jarvis Brook, Jacob Baldwin stepping away for personal reasons this week. Obviously, had a great time at the Brook, leading them into senior football for the first time as well, but leaves behind a strong team, a strong club as well. And as you say, they've adapted to life pretty well so far. Great experience for them on Tuesday evening playing Worthing as well. Record crowd for them. Obviously, the scoreline didn't quite go their way, but from what I've seen as well, quite a few Worthing fans were very complimentary about the club and their experience there on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's lovely that someone who's done so much for a club gets to bow out like that. I don't mean with a 7-0 defeat. I just mean with like a bit of a showpiece occasion for the club. That's probably one of the bigger games in their history. So, that's a really nice way to go out. I saw Jarvis Brook when they played Ringmer at the start of the season, and they won 2-0. I think it could have been a lot more. They were brilliant that night. And yeah, look, you are going to have periods, particularly when you're going up from step 7, when fixtures aren't as plentiful as they are at this level. When you've got Saturday, Tuesday all the time, they've adjusted to it very well. And yeah, like I'm sure they'll come. They'll hit a richer stride of form. I hate to say it, they've got Copthorne at the weekend. You'd like to think that might be that'll be a game they'll target of winning, and just try and get back in that habit.
Yeah, that's what they need, isn't it? Right, let's get ourselves into step 7 and Southern Combination Division 2. Last Saturday finished Brighton Electricity 1, Chichester City B 4, Capel 1, Worthing Town 2, Rudgwick 0, Storrington 1, Rustington 2, Hailsham Town 2, Southwater 8, Bosham 0, TD Shipley 1, Alfold 0, and Upper Beeding 3, Ferring 2. This coming Saturday in the Sussex Intermediate Cup second round. All 2 o'clock kickoffs. Billingshurst reserves against Upper Beeding. Ferring host Horsham Crusaders. Ninfield are at home to Rustington. Rotherfield have got Bosham. Southwater host AFC Upfield Seconds. Chichester City B head to Sovereign Saints. Storrington host Dell United, and Crowhurst are at home to TD Shipley, which is a 3 p.m. kickoff. And in Division 2, Hailsham Town against Alfold, Rudgwick against Brighton Electricity, and Worthing Town against Capel. In the Mid-Sussex Premier Division, last Saturday it finished Balcombe 2, Crowhurst 3, Cookfield Rangers 2, Hollington United 5, Polegate Town 6, Shoreham Seconds 0, Punnets Town 2, Linfield 7, Reigate Priory Reserves 1, Rotherfield 2, and Westfield 2, Holland Sports 3. This coming Saturday, again 2 p.m. kickoffs in the Mid-Sussex Senior Charity Cup first round. It's B&. Dons against Shoreham Seconds and Forest Row Seconds against Linfield. Then in the Sussex Intermediate Challenge Cup fixtures that I hadn't previously read out, it's Polegate Town against Westfield and Cookfield Rangers against AFC of Ardinian Reserves. In the Premier Division, Reigate Priory Reserves host Holland Sports, and French's Athletic are at home to Balcombe. In the West Sussex Premier Division, last Saturday in the Centenary Cup finished Angmering 3, Wittering United 3, with Wittering United going through 4-3 on penalties. Holbrook have Olympic 2, TD Shipley Reserves 4, Petworth 4, Southwater Royals 3, and Westcott 1935 against Dell United was postponed. In the Premier Division, Hartington beat AFC Fishbourne by 4-2, and Watersfield beat Billingshurst Reserves by 4-3. This coming weekend, fixtures in the Intermediate Challenge Cup that I previously hadn't read out are Harting against Roffey Reserves, Jesterstown versus Angmering, and Watersfield against Battletown. And in the Premier Division, AFC Fishbourne are at home to TD Shipley Reserves, and Petworth host Holbrook Olympic. Right, that's your results roundup. Let me find the next banner. There we go. Right, team of the month, 181 votes, 65% of the votes. Southern Combination Division 1 side, Reigate Priory, are our winners for September. So congratulations to Dale and his team at Reigate. We'll be over to Hawley, where they ground share, to present their award as soon as we can. We're rather fortunate this month that the calendar works back out, that it's Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, which means we can announce it on a Thursday. Very unlikely we're going to get to it on a Wednesday evening. So keep an eye on our socials as usual for the announcement to come out. Quite a few people this week not understanding how the award works, but they also happen to be people that don't listen to the podcast. So if you've got someone who doesn't understand how it works or wants to have a little bit of a moan about it, do direct them to the podcast, especially to the first episode of season 2, because I explained it all in there, and I'm not going to explain it all again this season. It works how it works. It worked last season. It's working this season. It's not going to change. Get used to it. Right. On to the next banner, if I can find it. And that's whether I actually managed to set one up. This is no, he hasn't got one. That's why. So I'm going to create one as we speak. And try to spell it right. Add banner.
Banner
There it
watch.
is. And there we go. There we go. Right. Any shout outs, Chris, from you?
Well, there's certainly a lot of numbers going round, as in players hitting certain milestones.
Yeah, I've got some numbers for you. I've got some numbers.
I'll put
Shall
my
I give
feet
you
up.
some? Shall I give you some?
Give us some numbers, Trev.
Right. Lewis Hull, 700 appearances for Little Common. That's exceptional. That is exceptional.
I have a feeling I might have used to work with him. I used to work at Hastings Direct. They have a very, very big presence at Little Common because their offices are right next door. Okay. They're in that neighbourhood, and I remember people talking about Lewis Hull when I first got there, saying what a good player he was. So, yeah, no, that is some achievement. And Little Common haven't always been, step 5. He's a massive part of where they are. So,
absolutely. So, congratulations, Lewis, 700 for them, and Brannon O'Neill at Burgess Hill, 700 career appearances as well. I've seen Brannon play, I think, at 3 or 4 different clubs across the county. Great left foot. And I did message him actually last week to find out he was on 699. I did message him to see if he made it on Saturday, but he actually got injured in training Thursday, didn't make it. So he actually made his 700th on Tuesday evening in their senior cup defeat. So congratulations, Brannon, to you as well. And I've also got from Worthing United, Tom Butler and Brad Hunt have both hit 100 appearances for the club, and Dean Sherwood's hit 200. Dean's only 25, and apart from Bruce Spell at Wick for part of last season, if he carries on probably the way he goes, he could end up being another one of those 700 club men as we go. So we could be talking about Dean in a few seasons' time hitting some more milestones as well. So I've given you numbers. Chris, have you got any numbers for me?
No, to be honest, Lewis Hall was the one that was on my tongue. So
that was it. That was it
metaphorically. So yeah, so that was the one. No, I mean, big shout out to New Haven FC. I was there for the first time as a punter on Saturday. I had a really nice time. Everyone was dead welcoming. And I said before, and I gave them thanks on the day for what they did for the runners who stopped at New Haven when I was last there. Because my friends were running from London to Paris, which again, that's everything like a community club should be. And it's not even their community; that was just people passing through, and they still made that effort. So, no, good on them.
Absolutely right. I'm just going to add another banner in because I didn't add that one in earlier, so I can add it in now. Right, as we mentioned slightly earlier, the Southern Combination ground hop is on its way. I was actually in Kent at the weekend, attending 2 of their games on Saturday at Holmesdale and Chislehurst Glebe, and the guys who organised the hop itself, Lawrence and Robin Reed, you might remember we had them on the pod last year. They will be back on the week before the hop takes place, which starts on the 31st of October over that weekend, just to run us through the runners and riders and the bits and pieces and what goes actually into the hop itself. Now, the Kent hop is actually finished after this year because they've actually run out of grounds to go to. They've only got 1 ground left because so many sides ground share. They've actually run out of places to go. So there is the potential, and keep your eye on this over the summer and into next year, that the Sussex hop next year might be a bit earlier and take the place of the Kent hop. So keep your eyes and ears and everything else peeled for that. But this year we've got 6 games as per the norm. On Friday evening in Southern Combination Division 2, Alfold host Rustington. On Saturday in the Southern Combination Premier Division, AFC Vardinians are at home to Peacehaven and Telscombe at 10:45. Then in the Southern Combination Division 2, Southwater host Ferring at 2 p.m. And then the evening kickoff is in the Southern Combination Premier Division, where Lancing host New Haven at 5:45. On Sunday, it is, I've lost all my pieces of paper now, Loxwood host Arundel at 11 a.m. and then it's Godalming versus Worthing United at 2:30. Last year, I think I went to the game at Roffey on the Friday night. Don't think I did one on the Saturday, but I did the 2 on Sunday, which were at Pagham and East Preston. They're not just designed for the ground hoppers, even though it is a ground hop. It's the opportunity, especially on the Sunday and the Friday evening, to get out and watch a little bit more football if you want to, and even if you're be able to get to the one on the Saturday morning before your game in the afternoon, depending on how it goes. So we'll keep reminding you over the next couple of weeks as well. So Friday the 31st of October, Saturday the 1st of November, and Sunday the 2nd of November are the 3 days for the game for the ground hop. There is also details on the Southern Combination League website. But I'm just going to go back to the shout outs because I popped a couple on the other page because I've run out of space on my little notepad actually as well. Just a couple more from Three Bridges, Harvey Willard and Billy Irving, both youth products that have come through their Pathway Academy, and they've both notched up 100 appearances already as well for Three Bridges. So could be some long old appearance holders there. Right.
I think it was Harvey Willard, whose name I was struggling to remember last week. Little lad, number 4, yeah, and he was like, I think when Jamie Crellin was on last year with you guys, he was saying you asked about him because he was like captain of Three Bridges at 19.
Yeah, that could have been. Yeah, he was very good when they played. Although they lost at Deal back end of last season when I watched him over there, he was still really, really, really good that day, wanting the ball and demanding it, and for someone quite so young as well.
He's got that really awareness, hasn't he? Plays with his head up. He's got that awareness. Yeah. He plays with his head up, and good possibility he could go higher. Absolutely. Right, where's everyone off to? Well, it's only where are you off to, Chris? Where am I off to next week? What have you got? In the diary for Saturday and Tuesday? This will be quick. Eastbourne Town, followed by Eastbourne Town. We've got Margate at home on Saturday, and then on Tuesday we visit Brobridge Heath. I've never been, but
very nice. You'll love it. I love it. Very welcoming.
Well, and I'm already like 3/4 of the way there because I work in East Grinstead. So
just across country. Yeah.
So I'm going to go there.
Perfect. Excellent stuff. I've got no idea where I'm going. I may, having had to look through the fixtures there this evening, I may do Forest Row again on Monday evening, possibly instead of a Tuesday game, although I may do Crowborough against Croydon Athletic. There's a few Croydon Athletic players that I know very well, which I might catch up with. It's the first time I've seen them heading into Sussex at a point where I can probably get to watch a game. So That should be a good battle as well with Croydon at the top. Saturday, I haven't got a clue yet. I've got to have a look through the book and see what else is going on and what's about. Certainly won't be an FA Cup game.
There's a few good games. I mean, Charlie Lewis will be good. I mean, I think Chichester's last game that they managed to play was actually against Lewis at the Pan. I was there, and they won that one. I think I said at the time at least Ronnie Biggs wore a mask because it was robbery. But no, just a shout out to everybody at Chichester again. It's great to see them playing football again. It seems like it was a really nice occasion on Saturday, despite the result. And I think the strength and class that everybody at Chichester City has showed, in the last what must have been the worst month that they could have ever experienced has been really inspiring. So good on them. Absolutely.
Just a little update on where is it? Where's my little banner? Where's my banner? Oh, it's not there. So I might have deleted it. Just a little update on the app as well. We do appreciate everyone's been eager to get their hands on it and everything. And there's been a couple of glitches, technological issues, so to speak, but it's almost ready. I'm not saying it is ready yet because my name's not Mike and I don't throw it out there until it is done. I've had a little run through on some parts this evening that is shown, and it does look really good. Once it's in operation, you'll probably be amazed at how many features it's got, what it can do, what you can do, and how you can interact with it. It is going to be not quite so much mind-blowing, but it is going to be a bit wow. I wasn't quite expecting it to function like this. So we appreciate everyone's patience. Mike's a perfectionist. He wants it 100% right, and he won't let it go out until it is exactly 100% right. So it is almost there, but when it's there, from what I've seen so far, I promise you it's worth the wait. It really is. It will certainly blow a few other bits and pieces out of the water. Right, that's it from me and Chris this evening. Over 770 of you watching at the moment. His crazy numbers again. I know Chris loves a number and a stat, but even he's shaking his head. You can't see on the podcast if you listen on Thursday, but yeah, even Chris is shaking his head in that. And excuse me, thank you to everyone who's got involved in the comments. I know we've got 2 or 3 new listeners this evening, or watchers, sorry, this evening, as we record on Wednesday. So we do appreciate everything, and great to you guys to get involved in the comments as well, to put your bits in and everything. And again, if any of you guys have got people out there reaching goal landmarks, appearance landmarks, managerial landmarks, tag us in, let us know. Let's give these guys a shout out. That are people you go and watch on a Saturday afternoon or a Tuesday evening, Monday evening, Sunday, whenever it is your team's going to play. And who doesn't want to hear their name getting a little bit of an applause and noted as well, because it's hard to stand out in non-league football with the amount of teams there actually are, and obviously the coverage isn't as great as everyone would like it to be, which is obviously why we're here as well, doing our little bits and pieces for you. So yeah, please do tag us in anything you want us to see, you want us to shout out, because without it we can't catch everything, because some of us are actually still working during the day as well. You can get in touch with us via email me, Trevor at the SNLF.co.uk. Find us on Twitter at the SNLF, and on Facebook, the SNLF.co.uk, and Gaz's TikTok and Instagram channels, the SNLF.co.uk as well. Chris, where can they find you?
I'm at _Chris Pryor on Twitter, and I think I'm Chris Pryor 51 on Instagram, but don't quote me on that. Find me on Twitter instead, because I don't know my own Instagram handle. I use it so infrequently.
In other words, send him a message on Twitter to find out what his Instagram handle is, and when he's worked out what it is, then he can share it with the world. Yeah, as well. Mike's obviously at the Dugout Diaries. Gaz is the SNLF food as well. I know he was at Arundel and Saltdean on Saturday, and obviously he was with me at Wick on Tuesday night. He didn't have a burger on Tuesday, even though they've got their new food outlet, and he's already scored Arundel, I think, hasn't he? So I don't think he bothered with that either.
That's a crime. Was the SNLF food guy not having food at Wick's all singing, all dancing food bar? That sounds.
This is what I thought he suggested going there, because I think he said to me, "Where are you going?" And I went, "I haven't got a clue." And we had said about New Haven Seaford, hadn't we, last week off air? The three of us. And I did say to him about that. And then he went Wick, Lancing. I thought, I've seen Wick already, and I've seen Lancing once or twice, I think, already. I thought, I don't really want to see either again. I'm like, yeah, go on then. So that's where we ended up there. But I expected he was going with that so he could, get on the burgers. But he was actually trying to sell coffee instead, which is his day job. So yeah, he was masquerading and disowning the SNLF for one evening. But
he's now a has-been.
Yes, he was never a runner bean anyway.
No, that's true.
Put it that way. All right, that's it from us this evening. Thanks very much if you've been watching on Wednesday. Thank you very much if you downloaded the podcast on Thursday. And if you find anyone that's not listening to it or watching, send them our way and get them involved. Enjoy your football over the next 7 days, wherever you're heading for a game. And we'll see you again next Wednesday.
Take it easy, everyone. Thank you.